I didn't cry or laugh out loud from the ages of 30 to 44. For 14 years, I didn't cry once, and I didn't laugh out loud. I lost the capacity to uncontrollably laugh. If you could do something that would make you less depressed, make you more likely to be successful, wouldn't you want to take that drug every day? I think for a lot of people, it is the easiest means to an antidepressant. It's the closest thing we have to a youth serum. I have a tough time. One of my talents as an entrepreneur, I think, is that I'm always thinking about work and focused on shit. So when I show up Monday morning, I've kind of got a head start because I'm thinking about problems, I'm thinking about stuff. But the problem is you're not that present. And it's very hard to balance those two because it's so competitive. I mean, I would imagine, I look around, I know your success. I would imagine you're constantly thinking about work, right? Thinking about new ways to improve things, people you can reach out to, emails you should send to encourage people, just constantly think about it. Once you have kids, it's very hard to manage that balance because you want to be present. So I'm trying to be present. Also, I'm trying to slow time down. Time is falling off a cliff for me. I have a chat group with my college friends. It was yesterday, when we were in college. It's just flown by the last 30 years, which means it's going to go even faster and I'm going to be 87. So trying to slow time down, trying to be more present. That's what I'm working on. And, just trying to be kinder. I think everyone should, from day one, just think, okay, how can I be more kind?
How do we slow time down? My friend asked me the other day what my superpower would be. And that's what I said. I said, I wish I could pause time.
Yeah.
And I think it's toxic, my answer. I was like, because then I could get my work done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And continue with my life. And then maybe I could DJ and learn, some other things. But I've always said that would be my chosen superpower. But how does one practically slow time down so that 30 years doesn't fly past?
So when you're a dad, one of the things you realize is you have this belief that your kids are going to be into World War II history and CrossFit. Those are the things I'm interested in. And what you find out is kids have their own interests. And if you want to be a good dad, you have to lean into their interests. Otherwise, you're just not going to have a very strong relationship with them because they're selfish. Kids are inherently selfish, and they're like, oh, well, Dad's really into World War II history, so I'll go to the British War Museum and I'll find it fascinating. That doesn't happen. My kids, so yesterday I ended up at Life-Size Monopoly, which is this life-size Monopoly game somewhere. And for me, that's the seventh ring of hell. That's just all. But what you try to do to slow time down is I immediately go into okay, just ignore the thing, check your email, be a good dad, just get through it. I find that you can slow time down by getting into stuff, so I really try and get into life-size Monopoly and engage with my child and be a little bit over the top about it. And when they do cheers, scream loud, try and just get really into things. Because if you want time to pass, it'll cooperate. But when you get really into stuff, even though you think it's stupid and cheesy and you're can't help but think, God, this is like Chinese water torture. I find that slows it down. I also find leaning into your emotions slows time down because it makes you more present. I didn't cry or laugh out loud from the ages of 30 to 44. For 14 years, I didn't cry once, and I didn't laugh out loud. I lost the capacity to uncontrollably laugh and to cry. I just kind of forgot how to do either of those things. And emotions are things you have to practice. So I remember the first time I started crying and the first time I really laughed out loud with friends, I thought, God, both these things feel great. And I started getting really into those things and feeling guilt when I do something stupid or trying to really embrace my emotions because that indicates what's important to you, what moves you, what inspires you, what upsets you, what pisses you off. And I find emotions, real raw emotions, when you register them and absorb them and lean into the messy part of yourself, I find that slows time down. So getting into stuff and registering your emotions. And as a business person, you're taught to be a little bit stoic. You have this weird sense also as a man of masculinity that men don't feel their emotions. But you start forgetting what's important to you. You start forgetting what like is real, your things you're into. Like what do you find hilarious? What makes you well up with tears because you find it so moving? Without doing that stuff, you forget what's important to you. You forget, like, you kind of lose your individualism. Anyway, so and you talk to Simon Sinek. There's a bunch of people who have a lot of means. Those are my two tricks.
In your book, The Algebra of Happiness, the third section is about health. You spoke earlier about the importance of it. I've really recently, over the last 2 years, I'd say, learned the importance of health and make sure I work out pretty much every day. Why is health so important? I've been on my own journey to understand it. But one of the things you said was that the most common trait among CEOs is that they exercise regularly. And even that you said you made comments about alcohol being bad for us. Did you take time to learn that? I know you've been working out since you were very, very young. Mm-hmm. But the overarching role of our health in everything, what have you learned about that and the importance of it?
Well, it's kind of where it all starts. I mean, this is not a rental. It's not a dress rehearsal. Your body is it. If you could do something that would make you less depressed, make you more likely to be successful, broaden your selection set of mates, I mean, wouldn't you want to take that drug every day? It's called exercise. We're happiest as a species in motion surrounded by others. We've been hunting and gathering. So the things you're going to remember in your life are usually not the CrossFit class, but walking around Rome with your family and your kids complaining, but being outside in some form of exercise with people you care about. So and exercise and feeling strong, I mean, it's been my antidepressant. If I don't, I got here 4 days ago. I've only worked out once. I can feel myself. I'm angrier. I'm not as nice. I don't feel as good about myself. I think for a lot of people, it is the easiest means to an antidepressant. It's the closest thing we have to a youth serum. You have this basically 24/7 security camera on in your brain trying to figure out if you're adding value. That's the bad news. The good news is it's got terrible resolution and you can fool it. So if you're caring for other people, caregivers generally live longer because your brain will sense that you're caring for other people, you're social, you're touching people, you're concerned, and it releases a hormone that lets you stay alive. New mothers typically do not die. If you're exercising intensely, it fools the camera into believing that you're hunting prey or building housing, and it says, let's keep this person around longer. So it is a great antidepressant. It's a great youth serum. I find you're just kinder, you're nicer, you're more confident. So, it's, the thing that the Fortune 500 CEOs have most in common, it's not the schools they went to, it's not even their ethnicity. It is gender. Only 483 of them are men. But more than any practice or attribute, it's that they work out 4 to 5 times plus a week. Physical fitness, again, it's one of my algorithms. You should not watch other people sweat for any longer than you sweat. And if you're watching other people sweat 4 hours a week and you're sweating 1 hour a week, you're in trouble. You have to sweat more than you watch other people sweat.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.